Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Brendan Lee. In this video I want to talk to you about emotions that get stuck in the body. I don't know that I have very much to contribute on this topic yet. Here's some things I've noticed over the years. That the first thing that comes to mind is I've done training in Tai Chi, lots of body awareness stuff, martial arts, tons of stuff. And one of the things I've noticed is that people often think that the mind and body are separate. And that just does not seem to be true. And what I mean by that is, for example, when we have apprentices here, actually, let me back up even further. When I was an apprentice here in Texas and doing martial training all day, 6 days a week, like tons of it. You know, Peter at some point came down. He's my teacher, mentor, founder of Shengshin Consciousness and Skill Worldwide. He founded this art that I studied for many, many years. And he came down one time. He said, I think he said this. It's like basically the person that you are on the mat is the same. Being on the mat training is not different from life. And at first I was like, I think that's bullshit. I don't know about that. I think that's, no. What? What are you talking about? No. But then later, after years, say, and I kept working, doing a lot of work, a lot of training, and also starting to teach other people and seeing what they do, it started to dawn on me, oh yeah, the person that I am, so-called, the person that I bring to the mat is the same one that I take grocery shopping. You know what I mean? It's the same character. When I encounter problems on the mat, wanting to learn, I learn like I learn. I don't learn like somebody else. I learn like me. When I have problems in life, I encounter problems in life, just like I do. You see, like, what's the common denominator? If I'm on the mat, and then I'm in life, and then I'm encountering problems, then I'm at work, then I'm at play, then I'm in love, then I'm whatever, what's the common theme there? This guy. See, so I started to get, oh yeah. And then I also watched other people and how they do things and how they learn and how they train. I'm like, oh my God, look. I learned so much about people. Say when we have done apprenticeship programs and the apprentices come in and I'm like, okay, they're people, but then I put them to work and then I watch. And then I learn a lot very quickly just watching them work. Oh, that's how you approach things. Oh, or here, learn this thing. And then I watch them try to learn. And then, oh my God, their whole character shows up. That's when I really learn a lot about them. Oh, that's how you are, kind of thing. That's your mind. That's what you've got going on. You see, and so what I'm saying is the person is as if infused in with the body. I have a character. I have a character of motion. Where does that show up and how does it show up? In the body. And then so people often will say, well, the mind is separate from the body. And I say, I don't think so. Not so fast. You see, the mind and the body are one and the same. This is how the mind is showing up, as if. So now, coming to this other consideration about emotions being stuck in the body. Emotions, what are emotions? Now, there is an argument out there. This comes from Peter. And, you can take a look at it. Emotions are they have a conceptual component. Emotions all have a conceptual component. They also have a feeling component. That's usually what we call the emotion. We generally are, as far as I can tell, very sloppy about what an emotion is. Like, for example, anger. You cannot have anger without hurt. You also cannot, you go ahead, try to be angry without being hurt. You say, yeah, well, pain is not conceptual. Okay, well, there's also an argument that pain is a concept. That's a different deal. But you also can't have anger if you don't have some reference to something that happened. That's a concept. The past is a concept. So then there's a conceptual component to anger, for example. Or future is fear-based. Fear-based. Future is fear-based. Fear is future-based. See? No future. You're afraid of what? Something that is going to happen. And the future, again, is conceptual. This comes from, if you want to check this out in depth, come here to a workshop or check out the Book of Not Knowing by Peter Ralston. There's some interesting stuff there about emotions. But say we consider emotions like this, that emotions are conceptually based. Then we have a feeling about, so now that means that something that's conceptually based, which is what we generally call mind, right? My mind is going down certain roads, and then I have a feeling with that we call an emotion. Now, if I do that enough, that becomes very habitual. And where is that felt? In the body. So then now we have, say, here's a slight tangent, but still related. When I was, as I have been working on my own self and considering things in my own mind, and then noticing that I do have certain program reactions that come up very strongly, some of the stuff that I do is that some of the stuff that gets formed up at a stage in life, say really young, that it is not, the mind isn't formed up well. So then it is not formed in what we consider like now as an adult, I can have certain thoughts and then put things together a certain way. Whereas when I'm a kid, I don't have all of this extra ability to make connections in my mind and reference things and associations and all this stuff and a whole past history that's built up that I reference all the time. It's like a raw feeling reaction that's just like, bleh, for example. And it's not thought out, so it's not going to show up like a thought. This stuff is going to show up like a feeling, like felt in the body. So where am I going with this? What I'm saying is that like some of the reactivity, some of the stuff that goes on, if I'm going to take a look at it, investigate it, perhaps get free of it, I cannot look for this stuff or this type of healing in an intellectual thought, reference my previous video. I have to search for it in the feelings, which is to say then the emotion as if appears like it's locked up in the body, felt somewhere, like a consistent feeling sense in the body. And then in order to take a look at this, again, I can't look at this in a rational, logical way. I have to examine the feelings themselves as they are and try to apprehend and grasp what's going on there. And that is done where? It is not done in the mind if we're holding mind as like some place within the head. It is if we instead change mind to include the entire body and your entire experience, then you look in the place in your experience that you locate as your body. It could be your foot, your knee, your shin, your hips, your back. Like, have you ever noticed somebody that like they hold tension in their shoulders? You see, that's their mind locked up in there, not in their head. Not in their head, or in what I would call just the body, that sensation that's below your head. There's a lot of feelings in there, and the body also has a lot of intelligence. And so then sometimes you can take a look in your body for the answers to some of this troubling stuff. It is not going to be necessarily located in the head. And this is another thing that I discovered myself in a certain way, or I wouldn't say I discovered it myself, but I took a good solid look in my own experience about this, because I ran into some challenges where I wasn't very happy with myself, and I was experiencing some very negative emotions, and then I got, wait a minute, these are like in my body. So then, just funny story and aside, I actually, had the thought like, wait a minute, okay, if these are in my body, I just need to move my body around and get this stuff as if out, because I can't think it out. I have to feel it out. And so I would like lay on the floor and I was flopping around and yelling and screaming and doing all this stuff, but like flopping around. And then later on, as I think my mom told me, that apparently polar bears and animals will do something if they have trauma that is in the body. They will shake it off, literally shake the trauma out of their bodies. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense. See, why? Because this is a feeling we're talking about. It's not an intellectual thought. So then how do you work with the feelings? Well, movement is a good way to work with feelings. And then also a concentrated effort of focusing on certain types of feelings can change how you relate to your experience and how you experience yourself in your body. Like if you focus on the center of your body, for example, it tends to calm the mind. Why? I don't know. It just seems to work that way. So now I don't know if I have anything particularly useful to say about having emotions be stuck in the body. Just that if we don't consider emotions as caused by external circumstances, yes, external circumstances may act as a trigger mechanism, but it's really your own self that is reacting to what is perceived. If you consider emotions as something you're doing, then it is a felt thing that you're doing, and you can also discover as if the complex mechanism that has the emotion come up in the first place, and then don't do that. And again, being redundant, you can check out previous videos. There's a definite theme of if you don't want to do that anymore, don't do it. Find a way to stop doing it. Not by suppression, not by acting it out, but by like literally, oh, I don't need to do that anymore. And that can be done through investigation and considering what it is. But then, let's see. I have found things to be helpful, like exercise, physical training, focusing on different areas of the body can also lead to perhaps new discoveries. Like for example, I've had stuff where I've been in my body and then noticing like, oh, I actually am not feeling this whole area here. And then I like went in to feel that area, like flooded my feelings into that area. And then, wow, I like started crying for some reason. Like, oh, I didn't realize I was holding a bunch of sadness here. Now, what does that have to do with health? I'm not sure. It does feel good to cry. And I think there's something to be said by becoming more and more aware of the feelings in the body and then being able to let go of parts of the body and or let go of negative feelings and or find the place where you can really fully accept what's there, so then you can get into it, feel it, and let it go. These do seem like healthy things to do, healthy and empowering things to do with the body. Yeah. And then in relationship to my previous video, some of the stuff is like chronic. Like we have people that come here and do workshops and body workshops, and they are like stuck in positions, and I try to have them relax, for example, and they literally cannot do it because they're so used to holding tension that having them to not do that is a big challenge. And so I suspect that emotions being held in the body, you could have a similar challenge, especially if you've done it over years and years and years. Yeah. So that's some stuff I have for you there on holding emotions in the body. Some things to consider, some things for you to look into. There are some things there for you to try out if you want. And yeah, the main thing is in this case, I'm staying open to discovery and deeper considerations on this matter as I continue myself. So that's what I've got for you on that. Thank you very much for tuning in. Much love. If you've ever had an uncontrollable reaction that came up very strongly and you couldn't control it, go ahead and hit me in the comments or smash that like button. Because I know I've never had any really strong reactions that have come up and had me, in the throes of a complete anger at somebody else. No, I've never had that, or uncontrollable crying. I've never done that. I've actually never felt any emotions at all. So that's a lie, by the way. Total bullshit. No, I have a whole range of stuff. Okay, so cool. If you want to get serious, check the links. We do workshops. When I'm a little serious, I got a free course, paid course. Hire me to be an online coach, or email me. Hey, let me know how your work's going. Ask me some questions. It helps me create content for you here. And wish me luck. By the time you see this, I will be in the middle of doing workshops. These are very powerful events that we have here at the center in Texas. You're invited to check those out. And that's why I'm shooting here in my office space. All right, cool. Take care. Till next time, much love. I'm Brendan Lee with theBrendanLee.com in support of consciousness and skill worldwide, which is founded by Peter Rawlinson. Take care.